was leaning against the bar in a speakeasy on 52nd Street, waiting for Nora to finish her Christmas shopping, when a girl got up from the table where she had been sitting with 3 other people and came over to me. I recognised her instantly. Of course I did. She was me. 20 years younger, but me all the same. I groaned. It had happened again. Nora was going to hit the roof. The girl, young me, said, "You've got to concentrate." I was concentrating, I said. "Your wife is taking too long with the shopping." No, she wasn't. We're just impatient. I thought I'd grow out of that by the time I hit. She looked me up and down. 50? Rude, I said. I'm 42. She winced. I should enjoy these good years then, huh? I was gorgeous then, smoking Marlboro Reds and insisting that everyone call me Mimi. This girl, Mimi, was a stranger to me, and the look she gave me of withering pity was something I could never clean from my retinas. Am I the oldest? I said. No. An 80-year-old us slipped through a few months ago. Funny old broad, sharp as a needle. We looked at each other. 2 people sharing a future as a sharp old lady. Am I the youngest? She said. No. I was watching a documentary about salt 2 weeks ago, and the next minute, I was in our old house on Cooper's Lane. I saw baby us. She smiled, showing all of her perfect white teeth. Wow. Baby us. Were we gorgeous? We were. Chubby little cheeks and legs like big sausages. Cool. The urge when these little slips happen is to give my young self warnings and lotto numbers. I never did. The lotto numbers wouldn't work, and the warnings would be considered for a day and forgotten after a bath and a good night's sleep. How do you tell a teenager to be careful about who she falls in love with? She's not going to listen/care/not date the girl with the motorcycle, so the whole thing is moot. I wanted to give you some advice, she said, with a look of grave seriousness on her unblemished, unwrinkled face. I laughed. Really? Advice from 80-year-old us. Oh yeah? What did she have to say? She slipped through while Nora was Christmas shopping. My heart flipped in my chest. When I'm 80, I'll still be shopping with Nora. Tears filled my eyes and I ignored them. She slipped through and I was on a date with a girl called Susie. I smiled. First or second date? She blushed. Second. We smiled at each other. A conspiratorial smile as we remembered our night with Susie. Anyway, old as hell us walks into the bar, and same as you, I spotted she was me straight away. I went over and she said, "Honey, all you're going to need to know is this. Love with every fibre of your being, eat at fancy restaurants, travel whenever you can, and most importantly, drink more gin." Then she gave me a big grandma kiss on the cheek and vanished. It's good advice. I wanted to pass that on. I know that you should already know it, you should remember it from when you were me, or maybe that's not how time works, but I thought you should know. Time travel is the worst. Right? I was in a lecture last week and drifted off. The next minute I was looking at preschool us, that time when we wet ourselves after fighting Johnny Johnson. That was the worst. I laughed. Johnny Johnson? I bumped into him a few weeks ago. He's married, 5 kids. She shrugged. I'm still mad about him making us wet our pants. Oh, don't get me wrong. He looked like crap. Oh, that's a relief. An awkward silence fell between us. It's weird how people talk all the time about the things they would say if they could speak to themselves when they were younger. But when the time comes, you just want to stare at yourself. Here was me in my prime. Young, skinny, confident. This me hadn't had the cancer scare at 25, hadn't lost her sister in a car accident, hadn't fallen out of her parents when she finally came out to them. This beautiful creature in front of me literally had my whole life ahead of her, and the idea that I would warn her of what came next actually made me feel ill. So we smiled at each other, and I said, "You should go back to your friends. They're going to start asking questions about this broken down, middle-aged woman you've been chatting to." She gave me a wink. "You're looking good, Mimi." I pulled her in for a hug. "You too, kid." "Do I call Susie again?" "Yeah, but she's ghosting you, so don't get your hopes up." "Oh, that sucks. Her loss. I let go of her. Until next time. I blinked, and she was gone. And I was leaning on the bar again, an empty speakeasy. I ordered another drink. Noah walked in, weighed down by shopping bags. Miriam, order me something, honey. I ordered her a gin and tonic, and we sat at one of the many unoccupied tables. You keep out of trouble? She asked after taking off her gloves. I slipped again, met a younger me. She shook her head. Remember what Dr. Pilgrim said, you need to concentrate. I know. I stared into my drink. It's just... I lost the thought as I began to say it, and neither me nor Nora went in search of it. Was I there? No, this was pre-you. She raised an eyebrow. And here was me thinking that you didn't exist until I came into your life. I smiled at her. There was a dark period for those first 20-odd years where I waited for a beautiful woman to emerge out the fog and demand a gin and tonic. Still got the moves, old girl, she said, and I laughed. Miriam, I held up my hand. Can you call me Mimi? Like you did when we first met? She chuckled. Well, only because you insist upon it. Yeah, I know, but Miriam is a little too... I twirled my hand in the air as though reeling the right word in. Old? Said Nora. Yeah, something like that. She shrugged. Time's arrow when he flies in one direction, Petal. At least you're not sitting here by yourself drinking gin and tonic with your memories. It's very poetic. It is. Now, if you excuse me, I need to pee. She stood up and walked to the back of the bar. I stared into my drink again and felt the corners of my vision crease up as though I was falling asleep. I snapped them open, and I was no longer in the bar, I was in a hospital room. There was a woman in the bed attached to too many machines that beeped and whirred as the woman's chest rose and fell with rattling breaths. Nora? I said. The woman, her face mostly hidden behind an oxygen mask, opened her eyes and stared at me. Her shaking hand rose and she pulled the mask away. You need to concentrate. Her face was an atlas of wrinkled mountain ranges and deep valleys. Her eyes were clouded but still sharp, and she was somewhere, under all those years, the woman I married. I know, love, but I've just got a terrible attention span. She nodded. You did. Oh. My mind and body didn't know how to react to this. There's no experience that prepares you for being told that you've slipped through time into a future where you're dead. You can imagine what it's like to be told a loved one is dead. You can prepare or practice like I did about my parents for years. And then the person dies and you surprise yourself with improvisations that stray miles away from the script that you had been preparing. How? I said. Or maybe I don't want to know. Sky diving. What? Oh my god, really? No. Are you making fun of me? She nodded and let out a wheezing laugh. You're at home. Wow, that is actually pretty impressive. Still got it. I love you, Nora. She winked at me. Fingers snapped in front of my face and I was back in the speakeasy on 52nd Street with middle-aged Nora shaking her head at me. Miriam! I know. Next time you do this, take lotto numbers or bring some back. I can't. It doesn't work. I can only see people I care about and I don't know, learn from them or something. It's good, I guess, to see how the world moves on and how you're cast along in the stream. It's a way for me to reset and realise that I need to cherish my youth, love my wife, and never go skydiving, just in case. So, no lotto numbers? No, just life lessons and reminders that I love my wife. So hopefully you're happy to continue not being married to a millionaire. She rolled her eyes. That may be, Nora said, but it's all pretty unsatisfactory. Thank you.